My name is Joe, this is PC Island, and today we're revisiting the RX 7400 inside of a new PC. Just to recap, the RX 7400 is only available through Dell, and the cheapest you can get it for inside of a PC is almost $1,400. In the 12 games tested, only 5 were really playable. This time we're putting it up against a PC built with the RX 7400 and gaming in mind. So here are the specs of the two PCs we're comparing today. We'll talk about the cost later. For now, let's get into the benchmarks. As in the last video, everything was tested with FSR in performance mode and high, medium, low graphics settings. Last time we only explored until a game was determined playable or not. This time we'll explore more thoroughly. Starting off the benchmarks is Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. The high setting averaged 28 with a minimum of 23. On paper the Dell PC was very close, but when you review the footage, the Challenger completely destroys the Dell. Everything looks so much smoother, and while performance doesn't change much on medium and low, each setting feels playable. This performance is comparable to the Xbox Series S, but the image quality may not be as good. The minimum required GPU for Avatar is an RX 5700, which is between a 7700 XT and a 7600 XT in performance. Next is Black Myth Wukong. Unsurprisingly, the Challenger wins again. The two systems average about the same, but minimum FPS for the Dell only gets up to 2, while the Challenger's lowest minimum is 23. I actually jumped in and fought a boss I hadn't beat yet, easily scoring 2 perfect dodges and the kill. The Dell couldn't run Black Ops 6 at high settings, but the Challenger hits a sweet 69 FPS average and 57 minimum. Medium and low settings are approximately triple when compared to the Dell, topping out at 101 average and 66 minimum. Cyberpunk 2077 sees the two neck and neck. The Challenger squeaks out a win, but is never more than 4 frames ahead. Every setting averages about 60, and it's difficult to find a difference. This one is definitely a tie. In Dirt 5, the Challenger beats the Dell at high, but the Dell wins medium and low. Just like Cyberpunk, you'll struggle to find any real difference, but every setting is playable, and I'd consider this comparison another tie. The Dell surprised us in Doom the Dark Ages, and does it again when up against the Challenger. The Challenger easily takes high and low settings with similar averages, but a much higher minimum. However, both of them tied at medium. The Challenger barely wins here. Guardians of the Galaxy at high sees the Dell massively outperform the Challenger, with an average FPS of 90 versus the Challenger's 62. However, the Challenger crushes the minimum with 49 versus 20. Medium has them averaging similar, but the Dell still loses with horrible minimum FPS. Low gives the Challenger a huge increase in the average and a 68 FPS minimum, while the Dell averages 65 with a minimum of 33. One big note is that FSR really helped in smoothing out the giant stutters, making this game 100% playable at every graphical setting. The Challenger easily takes the W. In the last video, the Dell could not play Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered at any setting, dipping as low as 2 FPS with frequent stuttering. The Challenger still suffers from frequent stuttering at high and medium, but low settings smooths everything out with its massive 117 FPS average and 68 minimum. The Challenger wins this one too. Neither contestant makes it out on top in Monster Hunter Wilds. Both have almost identical results. High is 30 and 19, medium is 35 and 21, while low is 43 and 27. The Dell slightly pulls ahead at low settings, but not enough to consider it a win, especially when I don't consider either PC playable. Marvel Rivals is a game I wouldn't play at anything less than 60 FPS. It was unplayable on the Dell, with an abysmal 5 FPS minimum at all settings. On the other hand, the Challenger easily hits lows of 30 FPS or higher, and hits 60 on low.
Supernova! Supernova!
Shadow of the Tomb Raider was previously considered playable at high settings. Both contestants scored almost identical stats at every level, and this one ends in another tie. Finally, Total War Warhammer 3. The 14100 and the 7500F go head to head, with the 14100 leading by a small amount. Both contestants pass at every level, but the Dell pulls ahead with just enough to get the win. Last time, the Dell managed 5 out of 12 games playable, and while it beat or matched the Challenger in a couple benchmarks, it just couldn't keep up. It suffered from horrible minimum FPS so often that it was operating at 45% slower on high and 30% on low. A comment in the previous video mentioned temperatures and that it may be throttling, but using Dirt 5 as an example shows that despite operating temperatures, it still manages to win the race occasionally. In my opinion, it seems to be an issue of limited memory capacity and speed. While 8GB of VRAM can still be sufficient, there just wasn't enough memory for the resizable bar to compensate, as it seems to have done with the Challenger. We didn't meet the minimum suggested specs for the majority of games tested, and OBS was running in the background, which takes up about half a gigabyte of memory. In titles where the Dell lost, video memory and memory were always maxed out, and the Challenger exceeded memory used by double or more in most of the games. It really feels like the CPU was stuck playing catch up. Which brings me to the CPUs. The 14100 seems to outperform the 7500F in some titles. My guess is that the iGPU may be assisting with background tasks like the encoding, freeing up CPU power for gaming. This would also explain the higher temperatures we saw. I may test this out in the future, but I need to grab a capture card first. Now that we've compared performance, we can compare price. I took the $550 price tag of the 7400 and its possible $150 to $200 price into consideration when choosing parts. We went slightly over budget because of the motherboard and the case, but the price still lines up with the Dell. While prices are similar, the Challenger only costs slightly more and comes with a massive upgrade in RAM, storage, power, and a case without Dell's logo on it. The crazy thing is that you can build the same Dell PC yourself minus the GPU for under $400, meaning that, GPU included, the Dell will be a better value if you built it yourself. Adjusting the price of the GPU to $200 brings the Challenger down to just under $1,000, and picking cheaper parts brings the price down to $767 after taxes. And that's exactly where I think this GPU belongs in the retail market. To me, it's been the ideal RX 580 replacement. That GPU still holds up today, many people use it in budget builds, and it seems to be a Toasty Bros favorite. The PC market is horrible right now. This card could easily save budget PC gaming, especially in the pre-built market. Even more so, just like me, I think there are a plethora of people who want to use it in an ultra small form factor 1440p living room Steam machine. However, Dell and AMD have partnered together to create, in my opinion, the biggest ripoff in PC gaming since Nvidia marketed the 5070 as having 4090 level performance. I really hope OEM 7400 start coming to AliExpress and eBay at reasonable prices. This card could easily be a contender for the best low profile GPU if the price is right. I fail to see how Dell can justify the price they set for the card even in an office setting. Companies like Dell are obviously going to charge a premium, but where do they get off charging $100 for 8GB with the slowest DDR5 RAM, $550 for a GPU that is probably less than half the performance of a similarly priced retail GPU, and then not even give you a disk drive? Price not included, I look forward to doing more testing on this card to create the smallest 1440p gaming machine for my living room that I possibly can. For all the viewers who gave me their support and commented in the last video, thank you. If you made it to the end of the video, leave an F in the comments to pay respects to Dell's failure, or let me know what you'd like to see me do with the RX 7400. Thanks for watching, this is PC Island, and if you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and get notified.